The movie kicks off in a slum area of Nagpur, India, where we meet Ankush, a young boy who spends his days hanging out with friends. Other kids his age call him Don and look up to him as their leader. Don steps out of his house and meets up with his friends to ride bikes and head into the city. They engage in illegal activities such as chain snatching, stealing mobile phones, and more. They use the money they make from all this to buy food and drugs. One night, Don and his friends are grabbing some food on the street when a married couple nearby starts to argue. Due to her husband's aggressive behavior, Razia decides to leave the house with her 3 daughters. But her husband goes after her on the street and tells her to come back home. When Don sees this, he jumps in to protect Razia and tells her husband to back off. The next day, Don and his buddies are hanging out on a railway track, getting high. Meanwhile, Don spots a boy named Sambia in a black shirt, just staring at him. After staring for a while, Don gets really mad and confronts the boy. He pulls Sambia's collar and tells him to look down. Sambia, the garage owner, quickly calls his guys and asks Don to loosen up his collar. Don walks away, but not before giving one of Sambia's men a slap. After that, Sambia and his crew chase Don into the slum, but they get halted by Vijay, an old football coach who's about to retire. Vijay steps in to break up Don and Sambia, asking them why they were fighting. Don replies that he just slapped Sambia's men because Sambia was staring at him. Vijay is taken aback by the reason and sends them both away. As they leave, Vijay glances around the slum and sees just how tough life is for everyone there. After this, Vijay heads back to his home, right next to the slum. Vijay really enjoys helping people and uses all his income to support those in need. He has a wife, a son, and a daughter in his family. His son doesn't look too happy about his social work since he's not getting enough pocket money from it. The next day, Vijay heads to college and sees the football team hanging out instead of practicing. So, the new coach shows up and Vijay starts to see that his time might be up soon. Later, Don and his friends are out selling the stolen mobile phones for just enough to get by when it suddenly starts to rain. The boys head to the field and start playing football with a big plastic jar. They all have a blast playing with the jar and even pull off some impressive football tricks with it. Vijay shows up unexpectedly, looking to get home quicker, and sees them having fun. He's really impressed by their skills and how they play, but he also feels bad for them since they don't have a proper football to use. In the next scene, Vijay comes back to the slum with a football, but he doesn't see the kids around. So, Don and his buddies are going after Sambia and wrecking his garage. Unfortunately for them, the police show up and take them to jail. A relative shows up and helps them out right away. The next day, Vijay heads back to the slum with a football and spots Don and his friends playing cards in an old broken car. He chats with them and offers cash, but only if they'll play football for half an hour. The slum folks are quick to be drawn in by money, so the group agrees to the proposal and prepares to play. Vijay hands them the football and just watches as they play however they want. Once the game wraps up, Vijay hands them the cash as he said he would and asks them to do it all again the next day. After that, Vijay begins to visit the slum often and gives money to Don and his crew for playing. He gradually introduces them to the rules of football and encourages them to play in teams. Don and his friends start playing football regularly and make sure to get to the ground on time. After Vijay's training sessions, they get into football and really boost their skills. The kids really connect with Vijay because he's so friendly, and they see him as their guardian. Meanwhile, Vijay's son, Laxman, is tired of his dad's social work and chooses to go abroad to further his studies. Laxman heads to New York, even though his mom asked him to wait for his dad to retire. One day, Vijay is late to the ground, and Don and his team start to wonder what's going on. Before long, they arrive at Vijay's place and insist he coughs up cash for playing football. Vijay straightforwardly tells them he doesn't have enough cash to pay up. After thinking it over, Don tells Vijay to forget the money and just hand over the football so they can play. Vijay happily hands over the football to them. Later, we find out that this was all Vijay's plan, to get the kids used to playing football without being motivated by money. Later in the evening, Vijay heads over to the slum ground and sees Don and his crew having a great time playing football. Once the game wraps up, he brings everyone together and shares that he wants them to face off against his college team and really shine out there. In the next scene, Vijay chats with the head of the college and asks him to set up a friendly football match between his college team and the slum team. Initially, the head declines, saying that the kids from the slums are naughty and unclean. When Vijay asks him to set up the match as a retirement gift, he goes along with it. The next day, as Vijay and the college team wait for the slums football team to show up, Don and his friends stroll in, rocking funky outfits and sunglasses. Vijay walks up to them and asks about their outfits, but they ignore him and keep looking for a pretty girl named Bhawana, who's part of the college football team. The football match is about to kick off, And just a few minutes in, the Slums football team lets in a goal. Don and his team look pretty disorganized and start bickering with each other after the goal. The college team is playing great and scored 5 goals in the first half. In the first half, Don appears to be more interested in impressing Bawana than actually playing the game seriously. Before long, the first half wraps up, and Vijay heads over to Don and the team to chat with them. He talks to the team about how they've been playing carelessly and missed their chance to show what they can do. After Vijay gave them a good talking to, the Slum football team members got serious about their game and began taking off all their extra clothing, like sunglasses and shoes. Now, they're all set to play the game barefoot, just like they used to in the old Slum days. A little while later, the second half kicks off, and the Slum team is all set to show what they've got. The game shifts fast as Don nets the first goal for the Slum team. Vijay is starting to feel his confidence return with the team and is cheering them on. The Slum team is scoring goals, dodging the college team players one by one. With just 5 minutes left in the game, the underdog team has pulled even with their rivals. They really push to get another goal before time runs out, but they just can't make it happen. The game wraps up in a draw, so now we get to figure out the winner with a shootout. In the shootout, the college team nets their first 2 goals, while the Slum team misses both attempts. Out of nowhere, the Slum team bounces back and ties the score with the next 2 shots. With just 1 shot left, both teams are set to score. Unfortunately, the college team's shot gets blocked by the goalkeeper, while the Slum team's player scores, leading to the Slum team's victory in the match. Vijay is super proud of the Slum team, and they start celebrating their win. Once the game wraps up, Vijay invites the whole Slum football team over to his place and starts chatting with them about their lives. All the players share their heartbreaking stories, like losing their parents young, struggling with addiction, and never having a place to call their own. Don begins to share his story, saying he's really not that special compared to anyone else. People all seem to agree that football helped them ditch their illegal activities and start enjoying life. Vijay feels really moved by their stories, and he decides to keep helping them. The next day, the Slum kids face an issue with their training field, so Vijay steps in and sends a legal notice to the local businessman operating near the training ground. When the businessman threatens Vijay, the entire Slum community bands together and starts clearing out his stuff, creating a great training field for themselves. The kids in the slums are really getting into football now, and their skills are getting better too. Vijay often trains them, and one night while chatting, one of the Slum players suggests he should organize a football tournament for all the Slum kids across the country. Vijay likes it too, so he thinks he'll take some time to decide. So the day finally comes for Vijay to retire from being the football team coach. And he does it, though not really wanting to. After that, Vijay receives some tough news. One of their players from the Slum, Yogesh, has died while attempting to steal coal from a moving train. Vijay and the folks in the Slum are really heartbroken by the news, so when Don goes to collect money from the guy he sold the stolen mobile phone to, Sambia and his crew catch him. Sambia starts acting up with Don and tells him to say sorry, but Don just won't do it and takes off after smashing a bottle over Sambia's head. Next, we see Vijay chatting with the head of the nearby campus about using the space to host a national-level Slum football tournament. Vijay steps up for the Slum folks and manages to convince the college head. They'll soon be handing out pamphlets around the city about the tournament and sharing them online across the country. People from all over the country are excited about the tournament and are filling out the application form to join in. Later at night, while Vijay and the Slum kids are getting a spot ready for the other football teams, Vijay chats with Don on the phone and urges him to turn himself in to the police. Vijay ends up getting beaten by the police officers and faces 3 months of underground punishment. So, Vijay and the Slum team get together to set up the tournament, and to their surprise, it gains popularity all over the country and even worldwide. During the Vijay, he notices a bunch of promising players from various teams. Unfortunately, since all the teams come from the slums, they tend to litter the ground, making the college area look like a wasteland. The college head isn't a fan of this, and he talks to Vijay about stopping the tournament. When Vijay gets back to the football ground at night, he's surprised to see the Slum kids cleaning it up and vowing to keep it nice during the tournament. After this, everything goes smoothly, and the tournament wraps up nicely. At the closing ceremony, the college head gives a shout out to Vijay for his great work and wishes him all the best for what's ahead. Vijay has no idea that Laxman is back from abroad and is all set to help his dad with the Slum football team. Laxman walks up to his dad and shares that they've gotten from Georgia to join the Homeless Football World Cup tournament. Vijay is super excited to hear this, and he begins telling the players from all over the country. He watched the same players closely during the tournament. Laxman helps his dad look for funds for the football team and takes him to meet a minister. But Vijay doesn't want to ask anyone for money, so he heads home instead. Meanwhile, as the slum children try to get their passports for the international football tournament, they encounter various challenges. Don also has a tough time getting clearance from the police station regarding his registered crimes. Unfortunately for him, the police officers won't lend a hand and inform him that his case is already in court. After that, Vijay and the others head to the court to help Don get his passport. The opposing lawyer tells the judge that the slum team is a threat and could engage in criminal activities abroad. So, Vijay jumps in and tells the judge how football has really changed their lives and how they're working to get things back on track. He also says that the judge should recognize their effort and support them in starting a new life. Luckily, the judge hears Vijay out and allows his team to travel abroad. In the final scene, Vijay arrives at the airport with his Indian slum football team, all set to represent India in an international football tournament. The movie wraps up with Vijay and the team taking off in a plane, heading to a football tournament they never dreamed of.